Hi, welcome to Business Ethics. My name is Tom. I'll be your instructor for the semester. This is just a short welcome video to say hi and highlight a few features of the course that you might find important. First thing to mention is this is completely online, asynchronous, right? It's broken down into modules. It's asynchronous, there's no live elements, but it is paced, right? There are weekly assignments, and there are a total of 3 short papers that we do for this course. Each module, there's 1 module per week. This is a 15-week course, full semester, and each module will typically have an active reading assignment, right, which is an assignment on the assigned reading, a discussion forum, and then there'll probably be a lecture video in there, and then usually I have my notes, not always, and there's also other supplemental material, right? So all that stuff's supposed to help you really understand the material, especially given that you're kind of reading this on your own and all that kind of stuff. There's also a total of 3 papers, as I mentioned, and they're kind of spaced out like 1/3 through the semester, so it's not like a midterm and final type deal. And the papers are only about 3 pages, right? So they're not intended to be super long, but yeah, we'll talk more about this when we get closer to them. Now, one thing that I really like to kind of highlight is some of the features of kind of student engagement that's unique to an online course. Now, I typically have about a week turnaround on all assignments that are turned in, and that's to evaluate them, grade them, but also to give you feedback, right? It's really, really important that students read my feedback. Okay, read my feedback on the weekly assignments. Usually the weekly assignments is pretty minimal, but sometimes students are doing something wrong or they're missing a part or something like that, and they don't realize until they're like 2 months down the road, and that causes a lot of problems, right? Something simple that could have been fixed easily in the beginning of the semester, right? And so I try to catch that pretty quickly, but I can't reach through the computer and tell you, right? So make sure you read the feedback, and also, that's one feature to doing an online course at like a university or something like this, as opposed to doing it like online and through, I don't know, Coursera or something like this, right? You get real time, or you get real engagement with the professor, right? I'm going to give you feedback. I'm going to tell you what seems to be a little off, what seems to be moving in the right direction. And that's going to help give you some guidance for the subsequent assignments, right? For example, we always have this kind of active reading assignment on the reading that will also be something that you'll write about in your paper, right? So that feedback on that particular active reading assignment is helpful in kind of getting a sense of a gauge of whether or not you're really grasping the material or not. And also, the other thing I want to mention is there are discussion forums every week. You are required to not only post an original post, but also to respond to another student's post, right? And this is really, really important. It helps everybody, right? It helps students. It helps you when you're posting that reply, because it forces you to read other students' posts, right? And then you might see something a little bit differently, or something might click for you. It also gives everyone the awareness that people are reading their posts, and it just facilitates engagement, right? You just get much richer discussion. It's just it's really better for everyone, and then this kind of spills over into people's writing and their papers and all this kind of stuff. It just helps everybody to do that, right? But if you don't post a reply, then you get a significant, you only get 50% on that particular week, right? So that's all good. And oh yeah, and also with the discussion forums, I tend to not post in the discussion forum. Instead, what I do is I usually post an announcement after I go through the discussion forum, and that'll be either to say, hey, everyone's doing a great job, or there was one thing that seemed like a lot of people misunderstood, or I want to add this extra piece to it that people are kind of moving towards, something like that, right? And then the papers, again, make sure you read the feedback on those. And in accordance with that, there's also an extra credit option, which is to revise one of your papers, right? You have to talk to me about your plans for revision, but I'm pretty available. We can just make a Zoom meeting and chat for like 15 minutes and just make sure that you're on the right track. You're not trying to do too much or too little, and that kind of stuff, right? But that's it. I don't want to make this too long. I just wanted to introduce myself, say hi. I look forward to reading everyone's stuff over the semester. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns, or if you just want to talk about the content of the course. I'm always happy to do that. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care.